Greetings, YouTube. I saw an image the other day online and I thought it would make a good focus for a video. It's a very concise graphic, 2 columns, and the graphic is titled, How to Tell If Your Religious Liberties Are Being Violated. And the first column is titled, Your Liberties Are Being Violated, and some examples therein. Here they are. You are not allowed to attend a religious service of your choosing. You are not allowed to legally marry the person you love. You are being forced to use birth control even though it is against your religion. You are not allowed to pray privately in your home or in a public place. You are not allowed to purchase, read, or possess religious books and materials. You are not allowed to teach your children creation stories of your faith in your own home. And those are great examples of things that would fall into the category of actual religious persecution. Then we have a column over here, and this one is labeled, Your Liberties Are Not Being Violated. And here are some examples. Others are allowed to go to religious services of their own choosing or not at all. Someone else is allowed to marry the person they love no matter what your religion says. You are unable to prevent others from using birth control. You are not allowed to force others to pray publicly. Others are allowed access to books, movies, and websites that you don't like. Public school science classes are teaching children science, and those would be excellent examples of things that are not religious persecution. Now, the second column I just read are all things that would sound very familiar if you are a resident of America or are familiar with American media or politics. Because this is the kind of thing that the social conservatives on a regular basis will claim that are violations of their religious freedoms, when in actuality, of course, they aren't. We have strong religious freedoms in America. It's in our First Amendment. One of the parts of that First Amendment that seems to slip by many social conservatives, and almost every social conservative I have ever encountered or read about has been a theistic one, is the Establishment Clause. Now it says that the government cannot establish a religion. Religions are left to the citizens. The private citizens are allowed to have the religions of their choosing. They're allowed to practice them. They're allowed to engage in religious activities, and they may not infringe upon the religious actions and activities of other people. And the government may not impose religions and religious actions or activities upon citizens, which is why, for example, today, teachers are not allowed to lead children in prayer, because a teacher is an agent of the state. So he or she cannot lead a student in prayer. A student can, of course, pray silently at any time they wish. Anyone can. I have prayed here on my channel. 1 second. I just did now. And there's no one in the world that can stop me from doing that. Let alone the United States, but no one can stop me from doing that, no matter how much they may want to. But you notice I didn't do out loud, because I believe that prayer should be a personal thing. I have been known to pray quietly to myself, verbally out loud, but only in the privacy of my own car, or in a private walk, or in my own home. I don't do it, draw attention to myself. I'm not attempting to pull other people into the process, because it is my personal process. I simply respect that other people may very well not want to have anything to do with my praying. And in turn, I would really appreciate if other people would not attempt to engage me in their religious process. And I think that is well within my rights to not have someone attempt to impose their religious belief upon me. But in America, which is predominantly Christian, I believe it's 78% of Americans identify as some variety of Christian, though there are many, many varieties of Christian. They have this persecution complex, that all the things I read about just now that aren't religious persecution, they think are. And they think this because it makes them martyrs. And they desperately want to be martyrs. They desperately want to feel that they are aligned with their Savior, Jesus Christ. When in actuality, many times they are not in alignment with their Savior, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ gave them 2 edicts to follow: love your God, love your neighbor. And many social conservatives in America, and remember, almost all of them seem to be theistic and of the Christian variety, almost all of them fail miserably at the second one. I can't tell you whether they love their God or not, but I can tell you from their actions and from their words that they don't love their neighbors. I don't necessarily say I love my neighbors, but then again, I'm not Christian. I do feel empathy, sympathy, and compassion for my neighbors, and I would really love for everyone to be happy so long as they are not infringing upon the rights of others. And I think that is a reasonable process. I think that is acceptable, and that we could all probably agree on that. I have been proved wrong. We don't seem to always agree on that. Because, again, people who are not being religiously persecuted feel that they are, and feel that it is within their purview to impose their faith upon others. And that's wrong. The First Amendment does not only apply to your rights as a religious practitioner, it applies to all religious practitioners. I know that is a radical concept for many people in America. That First Amendment must just confuse them to no end. So tell me, do you feel that we have true religious persecution in America? Go ahead, take a look at the graphic. Tell me what you think. Save a copy. I did. I have one on my hard drive. And, it may be good reference at some point in the future. But I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. I'd like to share your thoughts. Let's get a conversation going.